it is the actors who bring a starkly different energy to the same scenes, especially with Radhika Madan's electric but one-note performance. The introduction scene in this film is strange because while Surya's heroism seems to emerge from the film, Akshay Kumar's heroism feels imposed on it. There's this famous quote that goes something like this: "A work of art is never finished, it's merely abandoned." What then makes an artist come back to their abandoned work in order to abandon it again? In 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, writer and director Sudha Kongara's aviation underdog biopic Surarai Pottru directly dropped on Amazon Prime Video. This was a triumphant film about a man who, against all odds, dreamt for every Indian to be able to fly in a plane by paying only 1 rupee for the ticket. By being able to carry both employer and employee, master and servant on the same flight, seated on either side of an armrest, he says, "I want to break the cost barrier and the damn caste barrier too." Starring Surya, Surarai Pottru was a loose biopic on G.R. Gopinath, founder of Indian low-cost airline Simply Flight Deccan. It was made for the big screen, a destiny it could not fulfill due to the closure of theatres during the pandemic. It was this unfulfilled desire that pushed Sudha Kongara to make the film again 4 years later in Hindi with Akshay Kumar, who plays Veer Jagannath Matre. A big story finally finds the big screen, and a triumph yet again. The films are not too different tonally or narratively. They're not saying different things, nor is it improving upon the suffocating but rewarding excess of the original. However, it is the actors who bring a starkly different energy to the same scenes. For example, Akshay Kumar is as external as Surya is internal, as expressive on his facial muscles as Surya is gentle. Akshay Kumar's acting leaves nothing to the imagination, ambiguity and silence as though his mortal enemy. It's the kind of foolproof acting that has been sharpened and made precise by a C.T. Mar cinema. His introduction scene in this film is strange because while Surya's heroism seems to emerge from the film, Akshay Kumar's heroism feels imposed on it. Which is why, while so much of the film might feel familiar to those who have watched the original, even its familiarity feels oddly different. And it's not just the geography. This is set in Maharashtra, that was in Tamil Nadu, and nor is it the cultural markers, though I do wish Sudha Kongara had found a way to translate Periyar's self-respect wedding of Surarai Pottru to something more culturally specific in Maharashtra. As the film unscrolls, scenes do not unfold but explode. Every staging is dialed up, every confrontation popped, Adderall, every interaction given the force of nature. It's like being slammed against your seat. Every time Veer and Rani, Veer's to-be wedded wife played by Radhika Madan, cross paths, it feels fateful. Every brush of eye contact, every uncut gaze feels like destiny itself has birthed this love. To be clear, their fondness is fresh and tickling. The fact that here is the woman's family who's going to see the man's family, or the fact that Rani refuses to be demure, refuses to be quiet, insists on being brash, and does the thing that so few actresses on screen do: eat, not just feed. The conversations feel like a competition of bravado, an excuse to sink into past flashbacks or future dreams. It's too heavy, quite loud, with little respite. The rhythm is lopsided. There is no tenderness in the treatment here, even as the film insists that there is tenderness in their love. Veer and Rani's marriage is what a self-respecting marriage should aim towards, circling around equality, even if never achieving it. She has her own dreams of opening a bakery. She insists that her dreams are no less than his. She tells him point blank, it's not her money, his money, but their money. It's a character so spunky, so aware of the ways marriage tends to broker a woman's freedoms away. This treatment almost feels like a compromise, especially with Radhika Madan's electric but one-note performance. That Rani is not given the dignity of a journey as Veer does, because instead she's given this blinding presence, one that is always supporting but never self-effacing. In the course of the film, she tells her husband twice to leave her and instead take care of his work, even if this means she has to be in hospital by herself giving birth. There's almost a fetishizing of sacrifice happening here, which does not feel as troubling because she is an upright, no-holds-barred entrepreneur. You see what I'm saying? Everything that makes her modern feels like a mask to hide everything that makes her traditional. It's extremely clever. Much like Surarai Pottru, Sarfira 2 at almost 2.5 hours, especially in the second half, feels like a marathon of failures, stacked one after the other. Paresh Rawal is stuck in villainy, founder of Jazz Airlines, the kind of person who pathologized his snobbery into germophobia. He controls the aviation department, the runways, and keeps throwing Veer hurdles. His stone-faced wickedness keeps trying to beat down Veer's earnest heroism. A heroism that also makes space for Veer's desperation, Veer asking his wife for a loan, and Veer's exploding anger. What never gets expressed is his insecurity. There is never regret. That would be too much. Even as Sudha Kongra is insistent on disproving the law of diminishing marginal utility, throwing one hurdle after another, the tidings grow tiresome. The joy is in the final release of seeing that flight finally land, of seeing those passengers disembark, those old women with wide smiles. It's here that you realize that perhaps the excess is intentionally meant to suffocate, to infuriate, to make you impatient. A model for delayed gratification, perhaps? It is as though Sudha Kongra is playing at the limits of our patience, and I find this brazenness both refreshing and frustrating. But I do have to say, the film leaves a strange aftertaste in the mouth. We often wonder what happens after the credit rolls, right? In Sarfira, there's a running jibe at Vijay Mallya and the Kingfisher Airlines. This Mallya character even tries to buy Veer out, which he flatly refuses in the film. But here is the thing. In 2008, Deccan merged with Vijay Mallya's Kingfisher Airlines, and in 2012, Kingfisher folded, as did this airline. From the point of view of the present then, Sarfira is not a biopic of hope, but a cautionary tale about it. Some films belong to their time, and while it might seem, based on what we know happened to the airline, that Sarfira belongs to a previous decade, the hope that it gifts through its maximalist filmmaking might be something we can toy with and build on today, tomorrow.